Since Thanksgiving, Cooper Flagg set a record for assists by an 18-year-old with 11. The next night became the youngest player ever to score 35 in a win. And then just the other night became the youngest ever to score 40. He had 42. It was a loss to the Jazz. And look, he's not like walking out of the arena after losses. Cool, man. I made history. He's mad that he lost.
Just last week, 18-year-old Cooper Flagg erupted for 42 points against the Utah Jazz, making NBA history. With that performance, he became the youngest player ever to score 40 in a game, breaking a record LeBron James had held for 22 years before tonight.
But Coop's got it now. And here's Coop on the drive. And one catch is all it takes now to turn things around.
It was also the highest scoring performance ever recorded by an 18-year-old in NBA history. But what made the moment even more revealing wasn't the points. It was the reaction. Cooper Flagg didn't celebrate afterward. He didn't smile. He didn't soak in the headlines. He was frustrated, disappointed, because they lost. And that reaction alone tells you everything you need to know about what's coming next. What most people don't realize is that this breakout didn't happen by accident. There was one specific coaching adjustment made back in November that completely unlocked Cooper Flagg's game. Once you see the before and after numbers, it becomes clear why the Mavericks believe they found something truly special. Flagg entered his rookie NBA season as one of the most hyped prospects the league has seen since LeBron James. Like LeBron, he's lived under a national spotlight since high school. Every game analyzed, every move dissected, every performance magnified. And so far, the teenager from Maine has largely lived up to the hype. But the road to this moment wasn't smooth. Last season, during his lone year at Duke, Flagg dominated college basketball's award circuit, capped by winning the Naismith Men's College Player of the Year. Success followed him everywhere he went, until it didn't. Early in his NBA career, before the breakout and before the renaissance, Flagg experienced something completely new: sustained losing. It was unfamiliar territory for a player who had almost never faced adversity on the court. He walked into a Dallas locker room filled with veterans at nearly every position. On paper, it looked stable. 5 players with 10 or more years of NBA experience. But reality told a different story. Injuries quickly became a constant theme. And to open his NBA career, the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft was asked to shoulder an enormous responsibility. With Kyrie Irving sidelined after ACL surgery in March, Dallas entered the offseason without a true starting point guard or primary shot creator. Head coach Jason Kidd didn't hesitate. He handed the keys to Cooper Flagg. It was a familiar gamble for Kidd, one he'd made before with Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee back in 2016. The philosophy was the same: expand a generational talent's vision by forcing him to see the game as a playmaker, trusting it would unlock an even greater version later. The difference? Giannis was 22 in his 4th NBA season. Flagg was 18, the youngest player in the league, one of the youngest first-year players the NBA has ever seen. He had just 1 year of college experience and had never played full-time point guard, not at Duke, not in high school. The environment didn't help. With Irving out and Dallas leaning into jumbo lineups, Flagg often operated in traffic, surrounded by limited shooting. Outside of P.J. Washington and Max Christie, spacing was inconsistent. Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell, and Najee Marshall all hovered at 35% or below from 3. Dallas ranked bottom 3 in the league in three-point accuracy. Then came more injuries. Early absences from Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and Anthony Davis further thinned the roster, just as Flagg was learning to run an NBA offense. Add it all together, and uncomfortable might actually be generous.
Detroit, their 21-5 record. Here comes Coop, and Coop with ill intentions! And he deserves to flex!
Through his first 5 NBA games, Cooper Flagg's numbers were respectable but unspectacular. He averaged 13, 4 points, 6, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists in just over 32 minutes per night, shooting 45. 7% on 2-pointers and only 26. 7% from 3. Solid production for an 18-year-old rookie, but hardly eye-popping, especially when compared to the fast starts from fellow rookies like VJ Edge, Dylan Harper, Con Campbell, and others lighting up the league early. His introduction to the NBA was anything but welcoming. On opening night, San Antonio smothered him defensively, and the comparisons to Victor Wembanyama felt unavoidable. A few nights later, against the defending champion Thunder, Flagg battled through shoulder pain after an early collision, finished with just 2 points, and spent crunch time on the bench. Afterward, Jason Kidd summed it up simply. It just wasn't his night. When Flagg shared the floor with D'Angelo Russell or Brandon Williams, the offense looked rough but noticeably more functional. At least it resembled a lower-tier NBA attack. But that was never the vision. The real experiment was more ambitious. Dallas was forcing Flagg to solve problems in real time, under conditions most rookies never experience. From day one, he was thrown into the fire. He faced some of the toughest on-ball defenders in the league. Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Pascal Siakam, Stephon Castle. Every night was a lesson in how narrow NBA margins really are. Creating separation is harder. Initiating offense is harder. Keeping possessions on schedule is harder. And for Flagg, that learning curve became the turning point of the season. All year long, his defense never wavered. There hasn't been an off night on that end. Flagg covers an enormous amount of ground as an off-ball defender, willingly accepts any matchup the scheme demands, and competes possession after possession. Yes, quicker guards can still trouble him at the point of attack. That's expected. But as a help defender and rebounder, he has adapted about as well as anyone could have hoped this early. While the defense was always there, the offense took time to catch up. Through late November, the Rookie of the Year race felt firmly in the hands of Con Campbell in Charlotte, another former Duke standout. Campbell didn't fall off. Flagg simply rose back to where he was drafted. Or more accurately, Dallas stopped putting obstacles in front of its own future star. The numbers tell the story in 3 clear acts. In Dallas' first 7 games, with no traditional point guard in the starting lineup, Flagg averaged 6 points on just 38% shooting. The Mavericks went 2-5. On November 5th, against New Orleans, Jason Kidd inserted D'Angelo Russell into the starting 5. 3 games later, he swapped Russell for Brandon Williams. Over those next 11 games, Flagg's scoring jumped to 17, 4 points per game. His 2-point percentage climbed from 42% to nearly 58%. Yet Dallas still struggled, going just 3-8. Then came Ryan Nembhard, an undrafted rookie. Nembhard gave Dallas exactly what it was missing: a confident organizer, a steady floor leader, and just as importantly, a reliable shooter defenses had to respect. Since Nembhard entered the starting lineup, Flagg has averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting nearly 52% from the field. And the Mavericks? They've gone 6-3. That was the unlock. Offensively, Flagg settled into rhythm as a secondary creator rather than the engine of every possession. With a true point guard advancing the ball and initiating sets, Flagg began catching the ball with an advantage. He no longer had to reset the entire offense. He could attack immediately. Driving lanes became cleaner. Often there was only one defender to beat. When help arrived, Flagg showed the poise to kick the ball out or counter with a quick post move or a smooth spin into a soft fadeaway. His efficiency inside the arc surged. In transition, he remained lethal, where he still does most of his damage while his catch-and-shoot 3 continues to develop. There was another subtle but critical shift. Flagg stopped settling. Over his last 9 games with Nembhard, more than 70% of his shot attempts came from within 14 feet of the basket. Early in the season, that number was closer to 60%. That difference isn't accidental. It's growth. 2 months into his rookie season, Cooper Flagg had found his groove. He was blowing by defenders, finishing at the rim with either hand, impacting games in multiple ways, and doing it all while playing an unselfish brand of basketball. And now that the structure around him finally made sense, the rest of the league began seeing what Dallas believed all along. It's obviously far too early to talk about all-time greatness. But what Flagg is doing as a rookie already places him in rare company. His numbers stack up remarkably well with LeBron James' rookie season. Flagg has actually been a slightly more efficient scorer than LeBron was as a rookie. even though he hasn't matched James' playmaking volume yet. Their steals and blocks numbers are similar too. And perhaps the most telling parallel is positional usage. According to Basketball Reference, LeBron logged 14% of his minutes at point guard during his rookie season. In Dallas' first 7 games this year, Jason Kidd rolled out starting lineups without a traditional point guard, effectively placing that same burden on Flagg. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it does rhyme. And when you talk about iconic rookie moments, Flagg already has several etched into memory. Just 6 days shy of his 19th birthday, Cooper Flagg delivered a moment that instantly entered NBA lore. With Dallas trailing the Utah Jazz by 3 in the final minute of regulation, Flagg attacked the paint, absorbed a heavy body blow from Kyle Filipowski, and still finished a running left-handed layup through contact for his 38th and 39th points. He finished with 42 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, officially becoming the youngest player in NBA history to score 40 in a game. The previous record belonged to LeBron James, who scored 37 in December of 2003. Flagg scored 40 in regulation, added 2 of Dallas' 4 points in overtime, and still the Mavericks lost. He was visibly frustrated afterward, not because of the record, but because Dallas blew a 9-point fourth quarter lead. That reaction didn't diminish the moment. It reinforced it. Flagg didn't just break a record LeBron held for more than 2 decades. He showed he belonged in that conversation. And it didn't take long for him to put Dallas back in the win column. Some wins look clean in the standings. Others leave a mark because of how they're earned. Dallas' 116-114 overtime win over Detroit was the second kind. Ugly, exhausting, fueled entirely by grit. Early in the game, Cooper Flagg put Cade Cunningham on a poster. Detroit entered the night 21-5, sitting atop the Eastern Conference. Dallas was 10-17, near the bottom of the West. None of that mattered. Flagg attacked the lane with intent. Cade stepped up. Flagg rose anyway and finished with authority. The bench exploded. The crowd erupted. That energy carried through a wild game where Dallas built an 18-point lead before Detroit stormed back with a 31-19 fourth quarter run to force overtime. No, Flagg didn't shoot well in the fourth. He went 3 for 12. But here's the key. He wanted the ball. In a tight game. Against the best team in the East. As an 18-year-old rookie, that aggressiveness matters. Any hint of passiveness in Flagg's game vanished in under 2 months. 2 of his 3 made shots came in the final minute of the fourth quarter. One cut the lead to 1. The next gave Dallas the lead with under 20 seconds remaining. Overtime was tense. Defense ruled. Buckets were scarce. Dallas edged Detroit 6-4 in the extra period. It wasn't pretty. It was composed. The Mavericks shot 45% from the field. Detroit managed just 39. Flagg opened overtime by banking an assist to Anthony Davis for a layup, then found him again later while relentlessly attacking the rim. Even after missing a jumper with under a minute left, Flagg sprinted back on defense and made a massive stop on Cade Cunningham. That was the play that sealed it. Flagg finished with 23 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks, going a perfect 7 for 7 at the free throw line. Impact everywhere. Moments like these are why the league is starting to realize something important. Cooper Flagg is different. Very few 18-year-olds have ever looked this comfortable in the NBA. Very few rookies of any age have. And in the clutch, that difference becomes undeniable. After back-to-back overtime thrillers against Utah and Detroit, Flagg now leads the NBA in game-tying and go-ahead shots this season. In those situations, he's shooting over 65%. Let that sink in. A rookie has never led the league in this category since the stat began being tracked in 1996-97. Maybe someone did it before tracking existed. Wilt, West, Elgin Baylor, maybe Larry Bird. But in the modern era, if Flagg maintains this pace, he'll stand alone. Overall, he ranks 4th in total clutch points, trailing only established superstars, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Maxey, and Cade Cunningham. Now it's a long season. At some point, he may hit a rookie wall. The league will adjust. Defenses will throw new looks, take away his comfort zones. But Flagg has already shown, in college and now in the NBA, that he adjusts right back. He learns fast. He responds faster. And before long, he becomes the best player on the floor. Don't be surprised if this isn't a hot streak, but the baseline. Because here's the part that really matters. Cooper Flagg just turned 19. He just broke LeBron James' record. He's averaging 25 points per game over his last 8. And he was disappointed after scoring 42 because his team didn't win. That combination of talent, efficiency, and mentality is exactly what scouts feared when they first saw him at Duke. And now it's here. The real question is what Dallas does around him. The roster is still taking shape. Big decisions are coming. And Flagg is only going to keep improving. Jason Kidd said it himself. The more time Flagg spends on the floor, the more he sees, the better he gets. We're not watching a breakout. We're watching the beginning of something. So what do you think? Can Cooper Flagg really keep this up for the rest of the season? Or is the league eventually going to catch up? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dive NBA stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe. There's a lot more coming.